All right, are we?
Hello.
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 Hello, boo-boo.
Hello, sweet D. Sweet D, where did that come from?
I don't know. I've never called you boo-boo before either.
Couple of fucking
Losers.
weirdos. Welcome to round two with talking with Papa Soup.
Yes. This is actually our first talk was kind of fun. And
Should we have changed clothes or anything to make it look like
I don't care. It's called batch work. And
that doesn't work for me because I wear the same thing every fucking
yeah,
day.
you're like what's his name? Zuckerberg.
I'm a midlife male, white male who just wears t-shirts and jeans every fucking day. Oh,
But
yeah.
now we're going to talk about something really, really important to a lot of moms. There's this thing called the emotional and mental load of motherhood. Have you ever heard of that?
I think I have, yes.
Yeah, it's where like moms always are continuously on a loop, like what's next? Who needs what? Who has to be where? Who has an appointment? Who hasn't done their homework? Who the blah,
Absolutely.
blah. And it's
Absolutely.
all right up in here.
Yep. Not just moms. Some dads have that too.
Yeah,
right?
well, I know, obviously, like, yeah.
This one does.
Well, we'll get into that.
Oh, okay.
We're going to get into that. But no, there's that.
The truth comes out in Zoom calls. This is going to turn into a Zoom. Therapy. This is going to be a Zoom fight. What do you mean you make it?
No, so like it's a little different for moms because they have all that going on. Plus they have the physical part of being a mom too. And I'm talking like when kids are younger, especially. You know,
absolutely.
Like
there's no argument there. You are 100% correct there for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, for us, when all four kids were younger, and we both worked, but I just quit working because what the hell was the point when I had 3 kids in daycare? It's like a ridiculous amount of money, right?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that and we decided there's no point to you working. Right.
Yes.
I mean, we were you were working to pay for daycare and it made no sense. I'd rather have you raise the kids. So,
yeah. So I had the bulk of the physical and emotional load of raising kids because I was there. That was my job. But also, I think because I had been a single mom before, I had I was already programmed to do that.
Yep.
And probably a lot of it was just like, it's easier for me to worry about it than get you involved, or just do it. Don't ask.
Yeah, for sure.
Asking is just another fucking conversation that I don't have the time or the energy
or the mental capacity to handle right now. There's too much up here right now. I don't need to add to it. I get it. I remember you being like that. I remember it was difficult for me wanting to be the helpful husband.
Yeah.
And to have you coming from a life of I'm doing everything myself, for you to have to open up and be able to share some stuff could not have been possibly easy. And you know what? You did a good job. You let me do stuff. One of the best things about you that I remember was your expectations of me as a husband from your motherhood.
Where don't cheat.
Well, of course, there's boundaries like that. No, I'm talking about you knew what to expect. At childbirth, you knew what to expect from me as a husband. Don't expect too much. You've got women out there that as soon as that baby comes, even beforehand, the husband has to do all this other stuff and all this stuff. And sometimes husbands just aren't capable of doing some of that stuff.
They don't know.
They just don't know. Exactly. And it's not that they don't want to help, but they don't understand because they just don't know. But you understand that about a guy, which is fantastic, because I want to reiterate to all the dads out there that you don't know everything. And when it comes to birthing, there's a lot of guys that are like, no, that's the wife, right? And they let her deal with that. But you can't let her deal with everything, because it's just going to make your life miserable and it's going to make the kids' lives difficult, right? So if the mom is expected to do fucking everything, like take care of the kids, earn an income, take care of the kids, do the housework, set up for parties, do this, do that, do that. Holy shit. How much can one person possibly do? And it's not fair because, I mean, like, yeah, I went to work. I would get up in the morning, kiss the kids and you goodbye, and go to work. And home stayed there. I knew I was comfortable because you were taking care of shit at home. How much you were doing, I realize now how much there was to do. But at that time, it never crossed my mind because I had to focus on work.
Yeah.
And so my coming home at the end of the day to see you either, you know, fully engaged with the kids and going 100 miles an hour, that happened. I came home to tears. I came home to anger at me, directed at me more than once. And, you know, it's a shock for a guy to walk into the house, which I used to make fun of things back then, going, the only person that I enjoyed seeing when I came home was the dog, because he was always happy to see me. I would walk in and I would get a face full of what your day was like, which I totally appreciate now. But at that time, it was like, oh, why are you so angry to me?
Oh my
What
God.
have I done?
I thought I was doing a good job of shielding you from it all.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that happened every day. I'm saying I did come home to it, right? And that's just normal. And for God's sakes, there were times when I was home with the kids, when you had to go out and do something, because you were handling your own career at certain points in our family growth. You were working as well. And there were days where I had to load up the minivan with everybody. You had to go do whatever you needed to do. And I would take care of the kids that day and do the housework and do that stuff. And I remember you coming home and me being just pissed right off because I had to do all of this myself today, and you had no idea what I had to put up with. But quite frankly, you had every idea what I had to put up with. You just did it a lot more often than I had to. So
I
you had
love that you just admitted that.
Of course, of course. Like, to me, it was like at the end of one day of taking care of the kids, I'm just like, oh, fuck. And it's only 5 o'clock, right? There's still hours to go in the evening and stuff. And it was like, but I just couldn't handle one day. And you did day after day of that. And as a woman, you have no idea how much I respected your strength in being able to do that. How many times I was by myself with the kids doing nothing but sweating profusely because I didn't know what to do. And I was just, here's some money. Here, let's go for a car ride. Okay. I was limited. What do I do? Whereas you would just like, all right, everybody pack up. We're going over to so-and-so's house. Okay. And they would follow you like a band leader. It's like the kids were lost with me. Oh, Dad's home. What the fuck? What are we going to do? Cake for breakfast. Woohoo! Right? I mean, fuck. That's a typical dad day.
Yeah.
Right? If they're not a like a mom dad kind of thing, like a single dad kind of thing, absolutely. Majority of guys are like that.
So
a lot of guys don't respect the amount of work that their spouses do.
Yeah.
With their kids.
And there are going to be women who listen to this and say, oh my God, here we go, letting guys off again because they don't understand.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
just wired differently, but actually men and women are wired very differently.
For sure we are. And I mean, you know what? There's an old saying about, you know, blue jobs and pink jobs in the house, in the relationship and stuff like that. And, you know, you set those boundaries for yourself. What's a blue job? Well, in our house, a blue job for me is dealing with the garbage. Garbage is a blue job. I understand that. The garbage in my house, I have to deal with. My garbage goes from the kitchen to the landing outside the garage door, and that's the end of whoever's responsibility it is at that point. Once it's in the garage, it becomes my world. And if it's a mess, it's my fault. And I don't expect others to do it. I get mad, sure. Why is it always my job, right? But quite frankly, just get over yourself. Everybody has their jobs to do in the house. You can label them pink and blue if you want, but just have an understanding that the work needs to be split up equally in the house, as equally as possible. Within reason.
That's the thing. It's never, I don't think when you have kids, it's never equal.
No,
somebody's always out of balance, but the important thing is that it's not always the same person.
Well, there's triggers to that. If it's always the same person, that person will be miserable, right? And angry towards their better half, whoever that may be, because they sense the unfairness of it all, because to them it is unfair, right? What I loved about you as a woman was you understood that there's a lot I could do for you in this relationship. The key to understanding that is communication. One of our biggest challenges for you and I has been communication throughout our relationship. I think we're good at it now. We've both had to work so hard to catch ourselves, because I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to who you are as a person and how you deal with situations and comments and, you know, communicating. Yeah. So if you don't like somebody in your face saying, you know what, I'm tired today, can you please go and take the kids to this person's place and do that? If you can't do that without getting angry at the person, then you have a communication problem.
So what would you say to partners who can't, so like, first, there's two parts to this problem, as I see it. There's the person who's doing the bulk of the work with the kids and isn't asking for what they need and want. And then there's the other person who isn't open to listening to that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we've both experienced both types of those people in our circle of, you know, friends and acquaintances and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I mean, we both know, I know somebody that, you know, decided to have kids, and then they would work as a man, go to their job. And as soon as they got home, their wife handed them a child and said, it's your turn. And then they hopped in the car and they went away for 5 hours. And that was their life. And there was no listening. There was no communicating. There was nothing about how your day was. It was, here, this is yours now. And yeah, some people are like that. But honestly, that's not healthy. So there's a big problem there. If you're, at the end of your day, you're resenting the other parent and your only communication to them is, take this child from me, you have some work to do. Communicating, and you have some work to do to build yourself up as a team, as opposed to he said, she said, you do, we do, right? So
that's it. You just said it. It's team. You're a team. Yeah, it's not absolutely. You versus me. No. It's how do we do this separately but together?
Right. And I mean, it goes the other way too. You can, like you said, you were a mom that did everything for your kids. So having somebody come in and start to take over some responsibilities and stuff that you were doing for years can't be easy for somebody when it's ingrained in you that it was your job to do it. And now you have to hand it off to somebody. Are they going to do it right? Are they going to do it when you want? Are they going to do it right? That's the challenge you have with that kind of stuff. And we still have challenges like that.
Yeah, a lot of moms have a hard time with that, like letting go of control and having these high expectations of their partner, or having this idea of the way they should complete a task, say, like washing dishes. If they don't like the way that they do it, then all of a sudden, you know, they don't want to ask them anymore. Am I interrupting you?
No, my stupid phone is going off.
Like, it sounds like someone's phoning you.
It was.
You got new cell phones this week, and
Jesus Christ. Hey, so I'm sorry, folks. Let me just get rid of this. Oh my God.
People in their 50s shouldn't get new technology.
Oh, at least we're. my dad used to look at the computer like this. Or if he was on a Zoom call, it'd be like this. You'd only see eyes. No, God rest his soul. I mean, we didn't have Zoom 6 years ago, but anyway, enough of that.
Yeah,
back to the thing. Giving up control, not easy.
No.
Not easy
so
at all.
How would a partner encourage a mom to do that?
Again, I mean, my approach was always to ask, is there anything I can do for you? The first key for me was understanding that the other person feels the need that they need to do it all for some reason, and communicate openly about, why do you feel you have to do all of this? Because I'm here. And we had those conversations. And I remember you telling me, well, I mean, you used to tell me stuff, well, you're at work all day. I don't want to bother you all day. You've got stuff you have to think about, and all true. But quite frankly, I've also got a family to think about, right? Knowing that they're in good hands with you was a huge relief for me. If I was worried about leaving my kids at home with you, that's a whole different conversation, right? You're just such a fantastic mom, even though our kids will probably argue that now. But You were, Joanne, you have no idea. When I looked to you, I was a babe in the woods, literally, when we had kids. I jumped in to our relationship, and your kids were 6 and 8 at the time. And it was easier to deal with them at that time than it was to deal with babies.
Yeah.
Babies came and I was lost. I was like the stories MamaSoup makes, puts out there, like, okay, here's your baby at the hospital. Good luck. And then they let you go. And I was like, where's Joanne? What am I going to do with this? And I cannot for the life of me imagine how difficult it would be for a single parent to have that. I mean, you either when you're a single parent, you don't have a choice. It's all up to you.
You
You're the
don't have
boss.
time to sit and think about it when you're.
That's exactly it. But when you do sit and think about it, you can get angry that it's all up to you. It's all on you, and you can make it a problem. You can show your displeasure through to your kids. Hopefully, you don't do that. But I can understand, and I always said kids will bring out the best and the worst in you. And quite frankly, I've seen videos of moms holding their kids, their little toddlers, those best ages between 2 and 5, and just looking at the kid going, you know what? And their literal words, I love you to death, but I want to punch you in the face right now because I'm all out of options as to what to do.
Yes, and we don't condone punching.
No, we don't.
In the face,
but
we
my
do
point
encourage. Yes, we encourage people to say the things that they.
You need to say. You have to have a decent support network. I pity the parents out there that don't have a support network or can't communicate. Get some help because it will trickle down to your kids no matter what. You've got to be able to communicate. And you've got to understand that, there's just some stuff that, you can let go of as a parent and let somebody else take care of. But there's also stuff that you shouldn't let go of and then make it your responsibility to do. And that's up to you to decide what those things are. If you want to be a parent that says, I want to do everything, you're going to be a parent that's going to do everything. And it may work if your spouse is like, okay, whatever. Or it'll cause problems in your relationship as you go forward, right? I don't know.
What is your opinion? What should a mom do when her partner won't get off the fucking video games to go and help? No. This is a huge problem. Video game or
it's video games for sure. Mindless distractions, I think you can classify video games into. Not that they're mindless. I mean, you need some skill to play a video game, but it's all consuming, right? It's got your focus and it's all consuming. And very easily, men and women get lost in computer simulation because it's a fantasy world for you. You're getting something out of that you need. When it starts becoming a problem, when you're playing at all hours of the day, when you can't put it down, when you freak out because the power went out and you lost your $10,000 that you made on the game or whatever, you have a serious problem. What?
You can make money on these games?
Well, fake money, like virtual, within the game, like virtual money. That's what I mean.
Yeah, so like this is a big problem for a lot of
well, I know we know friends that have this happening in their home right now, where you're both breadwinners, you're both functioning parents, so to speak, but one of you has a obsession with like video gaming. We'll stay on that one. It's going to cause some strife in the relationship because unless the opposite partner, like the person who's got the problem with the gaming and stuff, if their spouse is okay with it and doesn't say anything about it or do anything about it, then there's not much you can do. That person, you've let them.
Spouse. Yeah.
It's on the spouse. But the answer, to deal with it is not to yell at the person for doing it in ways, because that's an easy thing to do because you're doing everything. This person's sitting on their ass playing video games all day. That's your impression of them, right? And if you won't see anything, even if they get up and then do a quick clean up, 10-second tidy in the kitchen or something, that doesn't count. They're back on the couch on their video game, wasting time as you see it. And as a working parent, time is the most fucking valuable thing you will ever have in your life. And you never have enough of it. You always say you never have enough of it, but it's how you dedicate your time.
As a parent,
That's at the core. Yeah, exactly. Yes, you have a lot to do, but you have to manage your time to do it. Now, if you've got a spouse that's not cooperating, then you guys need to fix that. Like that's a therapy thing as far as I'm concerned.
yeah, like
Somebody,
I
do you
don't
both?
understand why
No,
these.
and I've never had that problem. I've never had a problem where video games consume my life, right? And we're lucky. Our kids, we've had one out of the four that was consumed because of an addiction problem. At the core, was consumed by video games.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's detrimental to healthy mental state. Let me tell you. And that's not just the other thing. There's another thing. Online gambling. There's another one, right?
Yeah.
Has even further reaching
Porn,
problems. Porn. I
online
mean,
porn is
there's
so.
an this is. I mean, that's an obsession too, right? It's like if you can't, deal with not watching porn, there's things wrong. Well, we could just open the door into a whole new conversation about
Oh my God.
sex in the marriage when you have kids and that kind of stuff. And it's like, I mean, yeah, it can get that can create so much resentment for either spouse, right? If the other one is so consumed with parenting and other stuff and doesn't give needs to the other spouse, Christ, how do we do it? Joanne, how did we do it? How did we do it for 21 years to put up with the fact that, I feel like, yeah, I want to get it on and bang. And you're like, fuck off. I got dishes and shoes to fucking deal with. Right. And trying to find an intersection point where you're both like, oh, we got a window of 5 fucking minutes that we can get it on. Some parents actually set a schedule for their time. Your time between you and your spouse.
I feel like this is a conversation for a whole other
time. Oh, put it on the list. We'll do it another one on this one.
It is important. And it's like that, it goes back to communicating. And
yeah, but I went off track and I'm sorry I digress. But to get back to, the example we gave about somebody who can't get off video games, there's a deep core problem there. With that person needing to immerse themselves in a fantasy world and escape reality for whatever reasons, that's all video games are, is an escape from reality. And if it's a critical problem where that person, goes to work, but then comes home and as soon as they're home, they eat something and go and play video games.
Yeah, instead
of spending time with their kids. If you're going to play video games, get a Wii and play games with your kids, right? The one thing I loved about the Wii was Nintendo took an interactive approach to video games. They made games that were fun, that you'd have to solve problems with and do stuff with your family. These other games, these Grand Theft Auto games and stuff where you just immerse yourself into a world that doesn't exist and you become this character in that world, that can cause all kinds of extenuating mental issues, right?
Hey, you know what else is awesome to do with your family and you can get out and do it is geocaching.
Oh my God, we had fun geocaching. We didn't do it for long. We got into it late, unfortunately, with our kids. But the few times we did it, what a fucking great thing to do.
It was like
it's a treasure hunt. I mean, it's old school. We used to make fun with the kids and have treasure hunts in the house. Hey, let's go see who can find all the socks in the house so we can get the fucking laundry done, right? Or you could just like, okay, we'll make a game out of it. I mean, that's the secret to get kids to do anything. Make a game out of it where it's fun and you'll get anything done. If you're going to be a dictator and say, pick up your toys, guess what's not happening? Their toys aren't getting picked up. Like, I learned that lesson a long time. You can't rationalize with a toddler. It's like you have to give it, like you were the queen. You said 2 choices, Eric. We can pick up our toys and have a snack, or we can pick up our toys and go outside and play. Either way, the toys get picked up, right? It's psychologically, that's the biggest part of being a parent, is understanding your kids and how to get triggers to get stuff to control them. So
I gotta control you. You're like a wild horse.
I'm just you had no idea what you were into when you suggested we do some of these.
Hey,
and quite frankly, neither did I. I didn't expect me to be like this. So maybe I just haven't had an opportunity to express myself like this. I don't know, but I'm enjoying this.
Been saying to us for years, you should have a reality show. You should have a podcast. You should do this. You should do that. And I kind of regret that we didn't do it sooner.
I do, but I stopped myself from doing it because I thought to myself, who the fuck wants to listen to me?
Well, I
Like,
guess we'll
who am
find
I?
out.
Who am I to these people? Like, who fucking wants to listen to my opinions and words? And I guarantee you, there's people out there who are like, who the fuck are you? And they won't listen to me.
I know, that's fine. They're not our people.
I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. This
Nice.
has been my experience. We're trying to get MamaSoup to grow as a community. And if I can contribute to that by having conversations like this, so be it. I'll do it. I love it. I think it's
Yeah,
great.
and you know what? You said something really important a few minutes ago about communicating, and
Yeah.
you're not sure how single parents do it without help,
Yeah.
and to find help and find people to talk to. And that would have been a great opportunity to plug the MamaSoup platform.
Oh, for sure.
So we didn't do that, but here I'll
No,
plug it now. I mean, we've got to
you
talk.
know, we're doing it now. So
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. MamaSoup was created. This is the core vision of what MamaSoup was created for, to provide a space so moms can get the help that they need.
And talk about things.
And talk about things. Like you showcased that in a post recently, one of your Instagram posts from MamaSoup.
Yeah.
About you took a picture, a screenshot of a conversation that had nothing to do with you. It was two MamaSoup users helping each other out. One expressing her concern that she just can't do it anymore. Single mom, got a kid, got a baby at home that won't stop crying. She's completely exhausted. She's got no other support. She doesn't know what to do. It was heartbreaking to read that post. How many moms are out there feeling that right now that are not getting somebody? The thing about that post, somebody jumped in and said, hey, you're okay.
I know.
You do this, and that is why we created MamaSoup, to give that.
I love that.
Me too. It makes my heart just. That poor woman was reaching out for help, and she found it on MamaSoup, and that means the world to me.
It probably meant the world to her.
I sincerely hope it did, because, well, you know what it's like when you've been there, babe. You've been the single mom.
Yeah.
You don't know where to go and who to talk to. And you've got two kids screaming in your ears. You know, you got bills to pay, you got no money, and it's just like, what am I going to do?
Well,
that's dread.
I considered myself very fortunate because I had a strong support system.
You did.
But I know that that's not the case.
No, and quite frankly, yes, you're fortunate that you had that. But quite frankly, you're strong because you didn't want to use that if you didn't have to. You wanted to do it yourself.
Strong or stupid, one or the other.
Well, call it what you will. I prefer to deal with it with strength. It's like, no, but you did reach out. Eventually, when you knew there was no other options, you would reach out and you would get the help.
Okay, we got to get back to the topic at hand.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Division of duties, right?
Just like talking about how, so as the partner of somebody who didn't give up things easily and who wasn't used to having somebody come in and help, what would you tell moms? Like, what suggestions could you give them for speaking to their partner besides, the obvious, like, tell them what you want, or one thing that you taught me is how specific I have to be.
Yeah. Guys are dumb. Guys don't understand or process mom innuendo, as I like to call it, where what's second nature to you is not even a fucking distant thought for me. Right. Yeah. I would have never thought to do something like whatever. I can't even think of an example.
There's this analogy about a knife in somebody's head. Do you remember that one? And the guy doesn't notice, he doesn't notice the knife in her head.
Oh, that was a meme from years ago about the woman getting all pissed because her sweater's getting snagged. Well, her sweating's getting snagged because she's got a nail stuck in her chest. But she can't get over the fact that it's snagging on her sweater, and she can't loses focus. As if you just pull the nail out, your problem goes away. But she won't pull the nail out. She just wants to deal with the sweater that's causing the problem for her too. And that again is just trying. Lord knows it's not easy. Communication. It all comes back to communication. Yeah. So having you as a do-it-all mom and me show up, I sometimes just had to jump in on my own and do stuff for you. I would ask you nicely, what can I do for you? And you were so sweet because a lot of times you'd say, it's okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. That's not helping me.
No,
Just
you're right.
doing it is not helping me learn. When I started to learn, you started to give up control. So whatever it was in you that allowed you to give up some control for me, to trust me, to do something that you felt you needed to do, that's where the trigger point happened.
Here's what happened for me. I said to myself, you know what? It is not fair for me to take control of everything and not give him a chance to try, fail, or try and succeed, or try and practice. It wasn't fair. I was just doing things instead of giving you the opportunity to parent your kids. And that's the conversation I had with myself. And that's what I tell moms now. It's like, he's not going to do things the same way, or in this.
No.
Or,
you may not like the way he does it, but it'll get done, right?
It's not up to you. You have a relationship with your kids, but he needs to have one too.
Yeah.
Like, and
that's 100% correct.
Yeah.
And if you prevent your spouse from doing those things, it will affect their relationship with their kids, because they're not going to have the experience of dealing with whatever it is that you felt you could only deal with.
Yeah.
We still, you and I still go through that.
Oh yeah.
Right now with our kids. It's like, I have a way to approach. Like I said, I'm a fixer. My kid comes to me with a problem, I solve it. You, on the other hand, have told me, stop solving their problems. How are they going to make out in life? And that for me is a tough line to cut off as a parent.
Yeah.
When do you cut? I always made fun of, cut the umbilical cord and let your kid go. I'm the worst for that, because I don't cut the umbilical cord, because my family is my life. Right? I have to take care of my family, even when they're grown-ups and off on their own, doing their own shit. In here, they're still this big.
That's
right?
The Italian in you.
That's just the dad in me, right? That's just, I honestly, I'll toot my own horn. I was meant to be a dad. There's no doubt about that. And I have no regrets about being a dad. I absolutely love being a dad.
Yeah.
So much so that when I'm no longer required to be a dad, I have a hard time with that. Well, because I've been one for 21 years now, and I don't know how to let go of a lot of stuff.
We'll get
so it's a learning curve for me. Sorry?
We can get another golden retriever puppy.
Oh, fuck that. No. One's enough. Yeah, thanks.
So basically what we're saying here is that communicating your needs to your partner begins with, yes.
It's key. It begins with
being specific, asking for what you want and need, being willing to listen, being willing to let go to the other person's
abilities or whatever.
Like
trust. It's communication and trust. Yeah. And I'm not saying you didn't trust me to do a lot of this stuff.
I probably didn't.
You probably deep down didn't.
Yeah.
You thought that, no, he doesn't know how to do this, right? It's like the first time I had to drop your kids off at school. Well, they're my kids too now, but our two oldest kids, when I came on the scene, they were 6 and 8. When we moved in together, all of a sudden school became a responsibility for us to share. And, you had to make sure that first time I dropped out of school, I remember you were like, okay, so when you get to the school, you got to be careful because there's a lineup and there's pylons and they want you to go over here. Every school has it. This was all new to me. I had no clue. My experience with school was my own experience at elementary school, which, fuck, what good is that to you as a parent, right? Anyway, you taught me a lot and you had to let go of that. And it couldn't have been easy for you to sit somewhere thinking, I wonder how he's doing with the kids at school. And I wonder how he's doing. As a worrying mother, you did. But the kids are fine. They got to school.
Trust the person that you been and got a kid with is obviously has to be a half
capable
human.
I'm sure you've got moms out there that are like, my husband is fucking useless. Yeah, and your husband is probably useless because of 2 things. One, you refuse to let go of stuff to do. You don't trust him.
Yeah.
Or one, or sorry, two. One or one, or 2, he doesn't give a shit. And he's useless. And you've got the wrong person as a partner. And you need to work on that. So in my world, a functioning family for kids has two parents, and it doesn't matter if they're the same sex or whatever,
No.
two parents that have specific roles in that relationship, to be able to manage the family life. And if you've got one that's just not capable of doing it, whether it's in your eyes or whether it's true, that's something that you have to work on. And then communicating is the key. By communicating, you'll find out quickly if they're even up to the challenge of doing it or
There's
not.
no I in team, baby.
There's no I in team. And if you can't have a team with your spouse to deal with your family and your kids, you have to have a long conversation with yourself then, because you're not with the right person. And I mean, that's just me speaking. Don't take my advice to go get divorced if your husband's a
We're
fucking
not
lazy arse.
experts. We're not
I'm not an
experts.
expert, but it's just my belief. Yeah, I mean, as a parent, you have to give up shit for your family. Sorry. You have to give up fucking video gaming till fucking 10 o'clock at night, 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah. I think
No,
you
I
have to
mean,
give
spend
up
some
stuff,
time with
but
your fucking family. Like, holy shit.
you have to give things up, but in return, you're making space for the new cool stuff too. Like,
Yeah.
being a parent isn't all bad. And sometimes I think, like, the
And
way I
it's
talk
not.
about it, it's like, why did you ever have 4 kids?
Why did we
But
do it 4 times?
yeah, I always say I'm just a slow learner, but that's not true.
That's not true. It's just, you know what? Parenting is, again, it's like this. There's
Yeah.
this, right? And you dealing with this is
Yeah.
up to you. So
That's
yeah, when you're up here and things are great, that's
You
great.
Instagram it,
You Instagram it and stuff is good. Then it comes down here,
then
you
you
got
go
to
to
deal
Mama's
with
Soup.
it. So you go to, yeah, exactly. Go to MamaSoup. And nothing's linear. There's no such thing as parenting like this. And if there was, everybody'd be great at it, right? So
That's right.
not everybody's cut out to be a parent either. I mean, there's that truth too, right?
Absolutely. Nor do they want to be. And that's cool.
And that's not cool. And if they don't want to be, then fine. Don't go ahead. Have kids. Practice safe sex
No,
and
but
don't have kids.
yeah, exactly.
Don't go out and propagate children and then don't be responsible for them, right? That's my point on that one.
I think this has been an interesting conversation, and basically you've just put like these fucking truth bombs, all peppered the truth bombs in everywhere.
Yeah. That's me, baby. Watch out. I only speak the truth.
I know. Thank you for talking to me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure.